Okay, perfect. So I don't know if you guys were able to hear that motivational podcast I had on. Were you guys able to hear that? Put a thumbs up if you guys did. I want to hear. Okay, good. I want you guys to kind of just picture this, and I'm going to paint this picture. I'm taking over tonight. I have a little special guest coming on at the end in a moment too, but I want to pour into you guys because there's been some things that have been on my heart. And I want to know, first off, like, what made you start this business? I want you to think about that. I want you to write that down too. If you guys are taking notes, write that down. What stood out about this business that made you make that jump? Okay. And then I want you to also write down how you felt when you made that jump. For me, and I'll be honest, I was excited, I was anxious, I was overwhelmed, I was scared, I had no idea what I started, and guess what, guys? That is normal. So I want to talk to you about the becoming to overcome, how to become to overcome. And I want to talk to you about seasons, because so many of us enter this industry in different seasons. It could be a prosperity season. It could be a season of where you're growing and pruning and learning yourself. It could be a season of you're going through a lot of hard things. I don't know your stories. All I know is that you came here for a reason. And you didn't just stumble upon this tribe just because. So I want you to hold on to that feeling of what made you choose us. What made you choose this tribe? What made you choose this industry? What is your why? I want you to really have a clear vision of your why and where you see this going if you had no limitations on yourself. And that's scary to think about, you guys. And this is not like, hey, let me teach you how to do all your IPAs training. This is a training to pour into your mind, because if you do not believe in you, this will never work. Is that clear? And that is so scary, you guys. It is so scary getting real and raw and uncomfortable with yourself. It is so scary at times facing the uncomfortable and being uncomfortable with it. There's seasons of abundance if you believe there's abundance. If you believe in what you think and you align with that passion in your heart, I promise you guys, you will be unstoppable. And the thing is, when you felt that excitement, when you first started this business, we look at that bonus or that paycheck or whatever is leading us to push. But I'm asking you, are you pushing in every single moment and being intentional? Are you doing everything that it takes to grow your business? Are you giving 100% to get 100% back? And the thing is, guys, life is never going to stop for you. Life is never going to slow down and make it easy for you. Life is never going to be like, hey, you got to this point now, I'm going to let you coast. No, because every season of you requires a different version of you. You guys think, hey, I hit my 80K, I don't go through things. No, I'm a real person. I struggle. I have my moments. I get in my negativeness. I'm not like super robot woman that has no emotions. I may come off like I'm tough Sally over here, but I'm like, you guys, I'm human too. And I want you to know it's okay. I want you to know that you can give yourself grace. Give yourself permission to be like, you know what, this is the time that I'm going to pour into myself so I can make an impact on everyone else. Because the thing is, when I started this business, I shared a video on my page earlier about how I brought myself home. I made a promise to myself that when I started this, I would come home for my son. I didn't care what happened through that middle part. And I have notes. I never take notes. If you guys know me, I'm the most scatterbrained person. I don't take notes. But I took notes tonight. So I want you guys to see, like, I set a goal, and most of you probably had a goal coming into this. That's your starting point, is your goal. Okay? Then you should have set a deadline. And the reason why I say a deadline is because your brain, and this is like where my woo-woo stuff comes in, your subconscious mind will start working towards that deadline that you set because it clicks. It's like, oh, there's a goal thing I have to set. Now I got to start working toward this. Okay? So you got a deadline, and you got your starting point. Got it backwards there. This part right here, you guys, this middle part, this is the work. This goal just doesn't just, like, this does not just happen because, hey, I set my goal and here's my deadline. No. This middle part is where you get in the trenches. This middle part is where life throws all the shit at you. And I'm sorry I cuss if there's kids around. This is where, like, it throws it at you. This is where you got to grow. You remember as a kid when you would go through growing pains? I don't know. I had growing pains when I was, like, stretching. If anyone can relate, drop it in the comments. Growing pains, like your legs are growing, things like that. It's not comfortable, right? It's not supposed to be, because in order to be tall, in order to have good posture, in order to grow and get to our full potential, it's going to be uncomfortable at times. There's going to be seasons of abundance. There's going to be seasons of uncomfortable. There's going to be seasons of persevering, and you don't have any, like, you got to learn to be your own cheerleader. And that's where it comes from, believing in you. And it's not easy every day, you guys. I'm not saying, hey, I wake up every morning, I'm like, I got this, I'm freaking gold. No, it's called reprogramming the thoughts that I'm telling myself. Are you telling yourself the narrative that aligns with your highest version of yourself? Where you see yourself in 5 years if you had no limitations on yourself? Or do you keep playing that reality of living it comfortable, living it mediocre, whatever the word is, living it small? I can't talk tonight. Living it small, like, okay, I want you guys to understand everything that you have in your life right to this very moment is because of the person you are at right this now. Does that make sense? Like, everything that you've gone through has led you to this very point who you are right this very moment. You don't want to be that person any longer. That's why you came here. You don't want to stay right where you're at. That's why you came here. You guys all have different goals, different visions, different like inspiration of where you see yourself in the next 5, 10, 20 years. So the thing is, in order to get to that next level, you got to become the better version of you that maintains that next level. Like, I can't say, hey, I'm going to be this Brittany right now, and I want to be walking and speaking to women across the world in 10 years from now. No, I have to be a totally different version of myself. So how are you going to get there if you're not growing? So what I want you to realize is, when you're in a season, whatever season you're in right now, because I don't know. For me, I'm in a pruning season. I'm in a season where I am getting real with myself, getting real with the BS or the things that I allow in my mind, the limitations that I'm setting. I'm getting real with the things that I'm going through, and I'm challenging them and blessing them. Because if I can't bless the hard times, or if I can't bless the struggle, then how am I going to appreciate the mountaintop if I'm always, like, worried about the bumps? The bumps are what build you, guys. Those are your stepping stones to get to the top. Do you see that? Like, we're so hard on ourselves. This business is not hard unless you view it hard, because that's your perspective. And that's where you got to start feeding yourself a different narrative. If you're telling yourself you can't, or this, I'm not signing anyone, or I'm not talking to enough people, or I'm not doing blah, 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 and you keep telling yourself this, guess what? You're still getting the same result. I guarantee you. So why don't you try telling yourself a different story? Why don't you try telling yourself, hey, this season I am in is an opportunity to fall in love with myself. The things that I'm going through is building me to be the best version of myself. The things that I'm facing right now are my victories that I've overcame. The things that I'm going through right now are the blessings that I'm going to look back on and be thankful for. Because who you are in the trenches is who you will be on the mountaintop. Because I know for me, who I was a year ago is not who I am today. And the fact of the matter is, I didn't lose, like, yes, at the beginning, I may have lost sight and focused on ranks and stuff like we all do. Let's just be honest. We start somewhere. But the thing is, guys, I had to take myself back for a moment and ask myself, am I serving people? Am I getting to know what's going on with them? Just like someone got to know what's going on with you. You came to who you signed up with because you felt like you could trust them. You felt like you could be led by them. And if your upline's not here, that does not mean that you don't work your business. Your upline doesn't make or break your success. Okay? You make or break your success. There's no such thing as failing unless you give up. And you got to understand, I fail every freaking day. And I'm thankful for it. And I welcome it. Because guess what? Tomorrow I'm going to be a better me. Tomorrow is a new freaking day. A fresh start to start my day strong. To give my all. So if I didn't give my all today in every area, guess what? Tomorrow I get to. You got to be aware. Change starts with awareness. And calling yourself on the stuff that you know that you need to. Because deep down, you guys, you know your own BS. No one knows it better than yourself. Okay? So why are you doing this business if it's not to change yourself? I don't understand. You know how I am if you've seen me on my lives. I don't understand how people can get lazy, get comfortable settling, get back into their old patterns, get into their mindset because they're going through life. Life was going to happen regardless if you were doing this business or not. So why are you allowing it to be your excuse? You came here for a reason. What is that freaking reason? If it's your kids and you're saying, hey, I can't wake up an hour earlier to do some self-development to grow my mind so I can literally be the best me for my kid, for my husband, or if your husband doesn't agree with this business and you're allowing his opinion to affect you, because I know that a lot of you guys deal with that, prove him wrong. Like, it's like sometimes you gotta get over your stuff and move on from that. Stop giving your pain power and understand those are your stepping stones for what's building you to your best version of you. You can't have a solid foundation until you have a solid belief. And if your business isn't on a solid foundation, how are you going to build an empire? Because I know I'm building a legacy for my family. Where I see my family, my son's going to be able to understand that he can do anything he put his mind to because he saw his mom do it. My son's going to know that there's no limitations unless you make one. My son's going to grow up and be the next CEO of his own Fortune 500 company. I don't care what he does. I just know that the example I set right now is breaking my generational curses that have been in my family. And that is way more important to me than my temporary BS in my head. I call it like it is, guys. So I'm sorry if some of this is real intense for you. It's on my heart. I told M this is how it's flowing tonight. So buckle up because I'm going to seriously pour in for 5 more minutes and then I'm bouncing it over to our special guest. And I just want you to understand, you guys, who you are is not defined by your past, your struggles, your income, your rank, your volume. I want you to stop. It's if you get on if you have a problem at looking at your volume and that discourages you, then stop looking at your volume. It's like you get on the scale and you get discouraged. I don't look on the freaking scale. I haven't been on a scale in probably 2 years. Honestly, which I should probably once in a while, but I haven't. So my thing is, you guys, what is your story that you're telling yourself? What movie are you playing over and over and over in your head? Is it woe is me, victim mode, lack of, what's going on, lack of, what's checking in my bank account every Tuesday, lack of, lack of, lack of? Or is it, you know what? I didn't like this week, so what am I going to do about it? What can I change? What am I going to get accountable for? Because business isn't going to build itself, you guys, and you got to understand my belief system is why my business flourishes. I promise you, it sounds so cheesy and all this like self-development stuff, but if you're not being consistent for yourself, how are you going to get consistent in anything else in life? Like, your family deserves this. Your family deserves the highest version of you. Your family deserves to walk into a store and not have to check a bank account, to not have to be like, oh my God, I'm $10,000 on a credit card. Or, oh my God, I have these student loans flowing into my bank account and I'm so overwhelmed because I don't know how I'm going to pay them. You deserve to break that chain. So your son, your daughter, or your friend, your people in your life, I don't care if you have kids or not, but they hear what you're speaking about your life about. Be the example. If there's people in your life that are negative, lead. Don't nag. They're not going to change. You got to change. It's your job to change. Freaking focus on you. This is self-development with a paycheck, you guys. I promise you, when you start aligning the belief in your mind to the belief in your heart and being the best version of you, you will have easier conversations because you will understand practice makes perfect. I'm never going to have a freaking perfect conversation, but guess what? I know how to show up as Brittany. I know how to talk to people how I talk to you guys, and I know how to understand what someone's going through because I've been there. You are the key to someone else's life changing. And if you're doing this selfishly, then you need to not be in this business because it's not going to go anywhere. And I'm being honest. I look at my paycheck as the numbers of lives that I change every single week. My girls that are texting me, and then this didn't happen overnight, guys. This was 3 years in this industry. This was giving up in my previous industry, letting my pride get in the way, letting my ego get in the way, because I used to be that girl, okay? I have no problem calling myself on my BS. I was that girl, but I had to learn to love people. I had to learn to serve people. I cry every Tuesday because I have women that start my business that were able to pay for groceries or able to pay off debt. That small little like hope for someone is why I do what I do. I don't know why it keeps muting people or not muting people, but I just want to leave you with this. Are you becoming her to overcome the old her? Because you guys, you got to stop playing it small. You got to stop living in the day in, day out. If you don't have a routine that you do daily, you need to. You need to start with small, consistent actions that will build long-term results. Okay, if it's hard to get into routine, I used to hate planners. I used to hate reading. I dropped out of school my sophomore year. Okay, I was not a school girl. I read 2 books a week now, which is mind-blowing in a way. But like straight up, you guys, my mind comes first. And why? Because I set time aside for myself first thing in the morning before I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it's summer, not every day, but today I did. Well, 4:30 actually. But like I wake up between 5 and 6. If I sleep in 30 extra minutes, I'm not going to get hard on myself, but I am going to still stay in my consistent routine and literally keep at that. Because if you don't have if you're brand new and you don't have anyone underneath you, or if you've been in this business for a while and don't have anyone underneath you, I don't care. You need to be that leader that leads from the front. So when you do have that abundance coming to you because you're out of that season of growing, or you're out of that season of planting seeds, or you're out of that season of learning who you are, that abundance finally comes to you, that you're that person that is inside that deserves that. Because you all deserve the life that you imagine, and those dreams that are in your mind, that are in your heart, are not there by accident, you guys. And it doesn't have to be tied to just Lavelle. If you're only focusing on Lavelle in your posting and in your conversations, you're doing it wrong. This is you. This business is a brand. If you see how I post, this is about what has changed my life. And it didn't change overnight, but I spoke it into life at the beginning because I believed in my end result. I'm still not at my end, guys. I'm still growing daily. We all have our things. So I will talk about my morning routine. I'll post some about it. Maybe I'll go live in the Hustle Thrive page sometime this week and talk about what I do. But I want to kick it over to Geraldine. She's one of my 12K leaders, and I'm very proud of her because she's going through some seasons, and I want her to kind of share her input with you guys.
Hi. How does one piggyback off of that? First of all, like that was just like mind blowing. I'm like, um, no, but like seriously, like what Brittany is saying is like it's pure gold. So I want to start out by I'm not anybody special by any means. I did have like a huge past, I guess you can say. Like I always had a problem with authority. Absolutely hated authority. Every job that I wanted to do, I was like, oh, I can manage this. A hotel. I went to school for hospitality. I wanted to be a hotel manager. I was like, okay, I got to work my way to the top, right? Next, I worked at the Buckle. I was there. I went to the MT program. I went through all of that. I was there for 4 years, and I was like, this is what I meant to do, you guys. So I did the MT program, and then it got me to where I was like, okay, now I have to start doing the calls. And I did the calls, and I was like, I was stuttering, and I was like, it was a wreck. I'll just be straight. It was like, this is not for me. I was like, I can't do this. Whatever. I gave up. I was like, I'm not doing this MT program, whatever. I'll just make it to my way to the top somehow. Anyway, long story short, I ended up both of those jobs quitting. Like my path just led me, like I ended up getting pregnant with obviously our firstborn. And then we moved to Iowa. I didn't have a job. My husband didn't have a job. We were just led, like we took like a whole big leap of faith and moved our butts out to Iowa. My dad lives out here, so like, you know, it wasn't stupid, it wasn't reckless, but it was definitely a big leap of faith. And I was like, okay, well, like, what is it going to take for me to like do this, right? So I'm going, like, the way I look back at it now, like I promise you, this all has like a purpose, I guess you can say. But like, you know, I did the whole mom life thing for a year, and then I was like, you know what? Like, I cannot go back to work. I don't want, like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with those moms who want to work or anything like that. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to bash that by any means. But me personally, I could not fathom putting my son in daycare when my husband makes really good money now, and we could afford it by whatever, by any means, but I didn't want to trust that. Like, I could stay home with them if I wanted to. And why should I put them in daycare? For me, it just didn't make sense financially. Long story short. Um, but looking back now and challenging my mind through the self-development that Brittany actually got me started with, like my last company kind of dabbled into it a little bit, but it was like not even comparable. I'll just say that. It was like, whoa. But now, like the way, like I'm reading books, like Brittany said, like I'm reading with, I think I'm up to 4 books so far and 3 audio books. Like, who does that since February, you guys? I joined the business in February. So that's like, I mean, a huge difference itself. So looking back on all of that, I look back and I say, okay, there's a reason why I wasn't meant to be in the hotel industry, you know, but I learned so much. Like, I went to school for hospitality. I learned so much about the hospitality field and like the ins and outs of, you know, all of that industry, you know, whatever, like restaurant, food management, hotel, all of it. And then at the Buckle, I learned so much because I took those steps and I took those like different paths, I guess you can say. It's a whole different kind of business or industry, but I took those leaps and I went through those leadership steps. And for some reason, I just wasn't clicking when I went to go reach that end game, right? And I was like, okay, well, this is just frustrating because this is what I want to do, right? This is what I thought I was I was supposed to do this. And it just wasn't working. So then after I had my kids and, whatever, I was like, you know what, like, obviously, like, a little bit about my story is, like, I started because I wanted to make some extra money and lose weight and, all that fun stuff. After you have babies, you kind of just try to find yourself again, right? So I did that. And since February, I've even gone through so many seasons in this business itself. And I feel like they're coming, like, the way I can describe it is like you're sitting on the shore and then like you see a wave come in and then you see another one and they start getting closer and and quicker and quicker. And you're like, so like, it's just so crazy. So first, like, the first wave was the business. And then like the second wave was, like, the different ranks you can say you're hitting. And every time those waves hit you, it's like you just want to sit down. You're just like, no, I can't do it. These waves are getting too strong. I can't do it. I don't want to go forward. But every time you do, like, you become such a stronger swimmer. Like, I don't even, like, that, like, literally just came to me. I don't know if it makes sense or not, but like, it's just so crazy. So, I know Brittany said, like, you're not supposed to, like, let your struggles define you. And like, the only thing I can say to that is you have to embrace the struggles. You have to learn from every single struggle that you are coming, because like, you are supposed to be learning from them. Everything that comes through your mind, whether it's like negative thoughts or even those negative people out there in this world that are like, they're just hating on you hardcore. You have to have such a bulletproof mindset. And the only way to get that is self-development, because you can sit there and you can have, like, you can not watch self-development and you can say, no, I got this. I don't need self-development. Now, I'm not saying you have to do self-development every single day, because that's not everybody's thing. That's okay. But you are. I can't do it every day. I can't. I'm making excuses. I can, but some people it's not okay, or not, anyway, whatever. And now I'm all sidetracked. Where was I going with that? You're okay. So if you don't do self-development, then how are you going to learn to grow your mind, to get away from having those negative mind or that thought process? You know what I mean? You have to be able to check yourself. And like, Brittany goes through stuff. I go through stuff. There's so many different people on this team that go through stuff, but what you're letting those struggles define you, and you shouldn't let them define you, but you have to learn to embrace them, because you have to grow through them. So ask yourself every single time something is thrown at you, what am I supposed to learn from this? Where am I supposed to go? What are you trying to tell me that's going to launch me to that next level? Everybody has struggles, you guys. Everybody goes through things. You don't know what everybody has going on in their life. The only thing you see is their Facebook posts. Unless you reach out to every single people on here or whatever on a daily basis and you say, hey, can I see your dirty laundry? Like, can you air out your dirty laundry to me? Like, nobody's going to do that to you. Nobody's going to be stupid honest with you. Nobody's going to be like that for you. You have to put, like, you only see like the pretty stuff. You only see the presets. You know what I mean? Like, that's so crazy, but like, that's unless you read the caption. Okay. Unless you read the caption. So that's usually where like the knit and grit and all that fun stuff is. Right. So there's just a little bit on that I wanted to talk about, I guess, about like the struggles and all that. But I want to leave, like, did you have anything else like you wanted me to touch on, or can I ask a couple of questions and just kind of? Okay. So what did I say? I said, okay, so if you don't succeed, sorry, I have a couple notes for like, whatever, keep me on track, because, squirrel. Okay, so I said, if you don't succeed, it's because you already made the choice to not. So if you decide today, so, okay, let's do a little exercise. You can close your eyes if you want, but let's do a little exercise. So I want everybody to close your eyes. I'm going to peek because I got to make sure you're closing your eyes. Just kidding. Okay, so everybody close your eyes.
I want you to imagine why you joined this business. Did you join this business to complain when people don't sign up with you? Did you join this business to not do anything? Envision that little girl or that adult girl who you want to become. What does she look like? What's her hair look like? What is she wearing? Do you like her clothes? Are they designer? Are your kids getting like name brand stuff? You know what I mean? Do you see it? If you are making $5,000 a month, that's just a random number, but if that's what you are making a month, how much would that help you guys financially? Envision those changes, because that can be huge for you. That's pretty much all I have.
This was so good, you guys. I know this is so different than like our Wednesday night trainings, but I wanted you to see our heart and to see that everyone is very similar. Do you see that? Like, we're no different. No one's different because of a rank. Who cares about a rank, you guys? I want you to focus on the lives that you're touching and serving and changing and growing, because you are part of that change. And everything you are doing is impacting so many people. And I know that's scary sometimes because we don't have it all together. We don't. But every day I make a choice, just like every day I want you to make a choice to show up for yourself, to show up in the hard times, to show up when you don't want to. Because the more you do, the more you'll find that passion. Because like Lindsay and Katie talked about today, passion has to lead, you guys. And this passion I have right now, that did not just happen overnight. I was a very selfish person when I first started this business. And I have no problem telling you that. I just know that the love I have for the women that come into my path and the love that I want to show them that they can be, because this world needs more love and this world needs change. And you guys are those changers. Like, yes, we sell a health and wellness product that is bomb.com that you should be taking every day. And the one thing I want you to think about though, is don't think about all the things you got to do. Think of all the things you got to be. Okay? I love you. I hope everyone had a great night. I thank you for giving me 35 minutes out of your night. I want you to take the night. If you have anything that you've set up, I want you to do these 3 things, because this is what I do every single night. And I know you said you wanted to hear from me. Every night I do a brain dump. I write down how my day's been, if it's been sucky, because I don't vent. I do once in a while, but I vent to myself in a journal. So do a brain dump. Write down a paragraph about how you feel. Good, bad, ugly, sad, I don't care. Write it down. Separate your reality from your emotions. Then I want you to write 3 things you're grateful for and 3 I am statements in regards to what you're facing right now. For me, I had to learn to embrace myself and not try to dim myself down because people don't always like me. I had to, it happens, hey. And so I'm speaking I am statements over myself. And then I want you to write 3 goals for tomorrow and then go to bed, because that is what I want you to do right before you go to sleep, so your brain is ready to go tomorrow. It's going to think about all these things you just set out. Okay? So I love you all. I promise I'm done. Have a good night, okay? I don't know how to end this. Good night.
Bye.